Yes, it's Russia. It's time to play the game.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Second Level Sports. I'm Steve. I'm here with Nate, Asher, and Carter, and we've got a brand new guest on the show today. We've got Bryson from the Carving It Up podcast. Say hello, Bryson, and then tell the people what you do on your podcast.
Well, listen, Steve, I appreciate you guys coming on. Listen, the fact that a former co-host of mine on a previous show, Asher Moore, shout out to you, Asher, was a part of this. I had to come on, support my buddy, and support you guys as well. But yeah, I'm the host of the Carving It Up podcast. You can catch my show 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 o'clock. Talk about all sports, particularly the NFL right now, because we obviously know the league is hot, but plenty of college football, some baseball as we get closer to the postseason, and some NBA once the NFL season's over and we get towards NBA playoffs. But really just whatever's hot, I kind of just focus on that. Whatever the people want to hear me talk about, hear the general sort of discussion around sports, I try to really tap into that. But yeah, 3 times a week, subscribe on YouTube. And yeah, very, very excited to be on y'all's show.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're getting right in to the show here. We've got a very stacked week this week, but I do want to start off with something that's a little bit interesting that I've been seeing little flickers of every now and then this week. And a couple of us in here are NBA guys, so I'm curious what you guys have to think, and have to see about this Clippers and Steve Ballmer situation. Because this is shaping out to be a little bit like our Timberwolves Joe Smith type thing. While that hasn't been officially sussed out yet or anything like that, we'll be able to bring you the story kind of as it's coming. But I'm curious what you guys think about that whole situation and what that might mean even for the future of the NBA, because as far as I'm concerned and as far as I've seen, it goes back far enough that the start, like the impetus of this Clippers problem, started back when Shea was on the Clippers, before the Paul George trade even happened. So what kind of implications could we see coming from this? Nate, I'll start with you as our resident NBA ball guy. But what do you see happening with all this?
Obviously, this whole situation is extremely complex, and is far from any solution being done. It'll probably be several months from now until we hear any actual resolve from this. I can try to give you some sort of idea, but I've seen a whole bunch of things. One thing for certain, I only know nothing changes in terms of. I don't think the extreme is going to happen, where I don't think like they're going to have to give. I don't think the Clippers going to have to give up Kawhi Leonard or anything. I don't think anything like that's going to happen here. Most likely will happen unless like some more bombshell information just comes out about the situation. I think most likely what will happen is they'll get a pretty decent fine. They'll probably lose a few draft picks. They don't have much to begin with, but so maybe 2 or 3 draft picks, and that's probably it. Unless there's some more things come out, which could happen. Like if say something happens with something comes out of Paul George, even that could happen. If something else comes out from that whole situation, there could be more drastic measures. But for now, I feel like it's kind of more so lean towards a fine and a few draft picks being taken away from the Clippers. They keep Kawhi. They keep Kawhi for now.
Yeah.
As of right now.
At least what I've seen, it's not so much players moving, but it's more, like we said, draft picks and a fine. But I have been seeing stuff about the fine being several $1 million and them taking up to 3 to 5 draft picks after 2030. Because remember, the Clippers don't have any of their own first-round draft picks until 2030, so it would be 5 after that. What can that do to an NBA team that is already one of the oldest in the league?
I personally believe it doesn't change that much just because of the landscape of the NBA right now and the way that the NBA operates. Well, in leagues such as the MLB and NFL, a lot of the focus in organizations is developing young talent and taking that young talent to the next level. But at the NBA level, the talent is supposed to be developed by the time it arrives. And there's a very kind of short leash it feels with rookies and second, third year players in terms of actually reaching the performance standards that these organizations have. So, well, the focus in the NBA tends to be more on bringing in proven stars via trade or via free agency. And that's why you see a lot of the bad teams in the league remain bad for so long, because the league is built on bringing in talent, bringing in stars, and bringing in different trades, which I guess the picks can help in the trade market of things. But I think with it being a Los Angeles team, especially playing in a new arena with some exciting features in said arena and stuff like that, obviously you get the Southern California weather. It's going to be attracting stars no matter what. So, well, I think it will hurt maybe some future trade packages. I don't see it being some kind of detrimental move, especially with how much money there is backing the Clippers.
Yeah, I can absolutely buy that. Bryson, I'm curious to hear your take on this, because this is definitely kind of a new story that's developing. But does this end up in some kind of Clippers ownership backfiring? Does Steve Ballmer take a hit? Will he have to drop some of his shares? Because before this, he was known as one of the better, well-known, liked owners in the whole association. So what does this do to him if he has to drop the whole team?
Well, if I don't, my guess is I think I'm probably with Nate in the sense that I doubt that he's forced to sell the team or there's any punishment that goes beyond draft picks. But listen, the fact of the matter is, to Asher's point, that the Clippers are one of the most valuable franchises in the NBA. Obviously, the new arena, the Intuit Dome, which is just it's a palace. I mean, I thought the Chase Center, where my Warriors play, was something special. The Intuit Dome is something. Is a completely different monster with the wall, the whole thing. Yeah, Steve Ballmer has really, over the last decade since he purchased the team in 2014, 2015, he's really changed the image of that franchise from one of the worst run organizations in basketball to, hey, they're willing to spend money in free agency. They're willing to give up the draft picks they gave up for Paul George, which you look back at that trade now, it looks like Oklahoma City kind of fleeced the Clippers. But at the time, you had Kawhi, you had Paul George, two of the, at the time, probably 12 best players in basketball. Listen, my guess is, from a draft pick perspective and standpoint, it's not going to hurt them in the long run, because if you think about the last 5 years, if you think about the last 5 NBA champions, all of them, with the exception of Oklahoma City this year, and even they added Shea when Shea was in his second year, all of them have had homegrown stars leading the squad. Giannis, Steph, Jokic, Tatum, and now with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who was traded after year one. So I think the bigger story for me of the Clippers, and you sort of hit on this, Steve, is the idea that we're 6 years, removed from the trade, removed from these free agent moves, and they've made one conference finals. Kawhi struggled to stay healthy. Paul George isn't even a Clipper anymore. So, it's all from an on-court perspective. Yes, they're a consistent playoff team. Yes, Ty Lue's a great coach, but they finally kind of got what they always wanted. Kawhi Leonard healthy for a full season in the playoffs, and they still get knocked out in 7 by Denver, even though the Nuggets had some turmoil of their own. So, I think for the Clippers, the dysfunction now is not what it used to be. But this sort of just add this to the pile of a long history of they just can't get quite to the level of the apex contenders in the Western Conference. So from a financial perspective, unless Ballmer is forced to sell the team, which my guess is he's not unless more information comes out, this won't be that devastating to them because of what they're worth. And even from a draft pick perspective, I don't know, do we trust them to hit on picks to begin with? They haven't really done that in their history.
No, it doesn't seem that way. And especially with the value of second round picks being near totally diminished at this point. They're in some of these recent trades, like the ones for Michael Bridges and some of these ones this offseason, they've been throwing out 3 to 5 second round draft picks all at once to pull these guys around. Because the Clippers have such a bad track record with some of their draft picks, Is it going to be kind of a free agency-led team from here on? The Clippers are looking to be probably the oldest team in basketball for at least several years in a row. But can you build something off of exclusively second-round draft picks, even before all this came out? Is building your team entirely off of second-round draft picks sustainable in today's NBA?
I would say very unlikely unless you just really hit on a underrated gem that you just snag absolute just steal the draft. Then maybe you can get some traction there on it. But I do think the Clippers are really going to have to work with, their money in free agency. They're going to have to bring people in because of, all the factors with all these picks and everything going on. And from the information that I've seen about this, and, like we've said, there might be more information that come out. But Ballmer said, the way Ballmer puts it is it feels like they were very misconstrued and everything with this whole thing that's going on. So at the end of the day, this could kind of just like blow over. They might get a very small kind of slap on the wrist if they weren't very involved on it. But I do think for a while now, especially with the information that we have, it's going to be very free agency dependent on them. They're going to have to bring some guys in and try to coax them there. And some points that the guys hit on earlier, a very, very valuable franchise, brand new arena with one of the most likable owners in the entirety of the NBA. They're going to keep bringing people, or they're going to keep fans coming in. They're going to keep the money coming in. They just have to kind of get through this bump in the road and be able to convince more players to come through as well, even with all this stuff that they're kind of dealing with.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
In terms of this, it's a big debacle. It's tampering behind the scenes, talking with players, offering things to sweeten the deal. I kind of am under the belief that tampering, in a sense, should be legal in professional sports because of the fact that it's so hard to control it from happening. So it's easier to regulate tampering, in a sense, if it is allowed, because then you can kind of have a body that monitors the financial side of things. But I think with the tampering rules being the way that they are and limiting conversations and limiting the things you can do to try to coerce a player to come to your franchise, I think in some way part of owning a franchise is having the resources to make people come play for your organization. So I, in a sense, believe that maybe this isn't the start of some kind of big investigation into tampering around the NBA, but maybe this is an opportunity to loosen restrictions and allow the businessmen who run the NBA, behind the scenes in terms of running organizations, to do what they do best, and that's make deals.
So in that case, does it make sense more to extend the free agency period, or let the GMs and money guys stand there holding their stack of money in their hand, and as soon as the bell drops, they immediately throw it? But they can set up and be ready.
I think there's definitely a fact to get a kick out of in previous years in NBA free agency. Anytime it would always be July 1st at 6:00. And as soon as the 6:00 hit, you had all these deals coming in. It's yes, I'm sure they negotiated those in the last 5 seconds. All the intricacies of an NBA contract. I'm sure that was done that span. And the NBA's kind of cracked down on that to a certain degree. They've cracked down tampering, as we talked about, which is why this could end up resulting in a notable punishment for Los Angeles. But yeah, I think more than anything, it is I don't know what the solution is in terms of, listen, teams are going to talk to players. I mean, we found out a couple of years after KD signed with the Warriors that, he was talking to Steph and Draymond and the front office. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, there's the famous video of them talking in the hallway of an All-Star game and the arena of an All-Star game before they end up teaming up in Brooklyn. So, you can't control guys not doing some recruiting. Think about every 4 years at the Olympics. You can't tell me last year at Team USA that maybe Ant Edwards wasn't recruiting, Kevin Durant to join, or maybe LeBron James was recruiting Joel Embiid. Who knows what could be the case in some of these behind-the-scenes discussions. So that's something that the NBA can't really regulate, at least from a player-to-player perspective. Now, from an owner-to-player, because there's dollars involved, that's a different conversation. But I wonder if this entire situation doesn't start a bigger discussion in the next CBA for the NBA, where it's okay, this is does it really hurt the health of our league to have open discussion, to have this sort of free for all to a certain degree? Because at the end of the day, I mean, we know that the CBA has kind of killed dynasties, and in fact, it has kind of hurt the NBA to a certain degree. Like I've argued that for the last few years. Like the NBA, look at its history, is at its most popular when you have one or two kind of dominant teams. I mean, the '80s had, I think, 5 teams go to the finals in the entire decade,
right?
And the league was never more popular. So I think that's something the NBA has to look at as well.
Yeah, and I think
ask you all.
Yeah.
Just as a fan, just a real quick about this from a fan perspective. Like we're 5 basketball fans here. I personally would love to see kind of open communication from player to player. Like, hey, your situation. Like imagine player A is like an all-star on a mid-level team or like a really bad team like the Charlotte Hornets. Not to really pick on them specifically. They were just the first bad team I could think of. And player B is on a team that is maybe one piece away from contending for a championship. I think they should have the ability to openly, like, maybe say on X or Twitter, or just like say to the person post game, like, hey, your team's really bad, come play for us, come win a ring. I just, from a fan perspective, would love the added drama that could potentially bring, and it gives the NBA more avenues to reach like more people and to kind of express themselves as a league off the court just as much as on the court, because as we're seeing in other leagues, the off-field stuff is drawing attention to the on-the-field play, and it's helping a lot of leagues, especially the NFL.
Yeah. If that happens, though, Asher, Kyrie Irving is going to hate that. He is going to hate that. If everything runs through fan Twitter.
You think Kyrie Irving, though, would hate having the ability to openly say, I want out of here, someone please save me?
He does that in
way,
more ways than saying it outright.
Oh, yeah.
Especially now. Well, on the subject of money, we are going to translate over to a big ticket weekend in sports. That is NFL Week 1. What an insane first week. Lots of big, massive games. I turn the TV on to the very first game. I get visually assaulted by this NFL AI influencer commercial slop. I don't know if you guys saw that, but what in the world is the NFL thinking? Isn't the whole parade behind this to like get CGI artists and graphic designers back in the forefront and not let AI take this over?
They're trying to be progressive and on the front foot with AI and stuff like that, and they're trying to reach younger audiences, and they're trying to like express themselves in different ways, but it gets to I think it goes too far at a certain point.
Can I tell you what it really is, guys?
Yeah,
it's cheaper. It's cheaper to make that.
100%.
Listen, we know the NFL is. They are the ultimate capitalist professional sports. They are going to take advantage of any type of land that they can take advantage of to profit their business. That's the name of the game. And so I mean that's a much deeper discussion. But that's what a lot of corporations. If AI is cheaper to use for a commercial, even though it's not well received, we're the NFL. It's not going to hurt us, right? I mean, haven't we all gotten tired of the stupid Burger King commercials for years? It's still airing. We still watch the game. So the NFL is not worried about that.
No, I don't think so either.
It draws headlines.
Yeah.
It gets people on podcasts like this talking about it, which in turn gets more eyes on the NFL.
Yeah. I need to see the Rizzler's commercial spot rate. I need to see it. He is everywhere.
I think I can be fine without knowing any of that information.
Yeah, I don't
It'll do nothing but make me sad.
Yeah. Well, after that commercial aired and I bleached my eyeballs, we finally got to a pretty fantastic week 1. I want to see what your guys' takeaways are for a game that maybe you had your eye on, maybe you were looking at from a fan perspective, maybe you were looking at specific players. Asher, I'll start with you. What was a game that maybe surprised you, maybe stood out to you?
I'll save Jets Steelers for Bryson because I can feel the urge on his end to talk some Steelers football, especially after the result of that game. But that was a phenomenal game. I'm going to try to not pick the obvious one. Sunday Night Football was beautiful and the exact type of game that just is why we love football so much. So for me, like, I don't know. I felt it just felt good to see that good of a game, and the first primetime Sunday night football slot felt great. I liked the Cowboys and Eagles game just because it's a division game in the first week. Why not throw both teams into the fire? Uh, I saw a lot out of both teams. I think we learned a lot. I think the Cowboys aren't going to be as bad as some people seem to think that they are. They're not just going to fall off the face of the planet. There's still a decent squad there, especially offensively. CeeDee Lamb's got to figure it out though in those big moments. But again, it's week one, so you're bound to have some moments like that, and that's why I thought it was fun to have a divisional round or a divisional game in the first week of the season, the first game of the season. So really enjoyed that. The Eagles offense looks really good. They're going to continue to run the ball all over everybody, and there's not really much anyone can do to stop it, it seems like. Jalen Hurts is a really good quarterback. I think he's a lot better than a lot of people within the NFL media and the NFL sphere give him credit for.
Yeah.
And I think he continues to display that. And guys, his rushing touchdowns, the tush push wasn't a factor in Jalen Hurts' success. So to say that all of his success is based off of one play, no. The two rushing touchdowns he had were good running quarterback plays. So was really impressed with that, but also was really impressed with Dallas sticking in that game. The second half got weird with the fumble and the hour lightning delay for the horrific storm that passed through Philly, as we all saw. So interesting first game of the season, and I that was one I enjoyed watching.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Asher kind of gave you the toss-up, Bryson. We'll go straight to you with the Jets and Steelers. Did you enjoy this game? I ended up watching a decent portion of this game. What did you see from this one?
You know what's funny is I think I had 19-17 as my final score.
Yeah,
for this one.
I think we all did.
I mean, listen. You got two defensive-minded teams, two defensive coaches, and Tomlin and Glenn, and it ends up being, before Baltimore and Buffalo, it ends up being the best shootout that we saw on Sunday. Listen, obviously I'm going to take the Steelers side of this because I am a huge Steelers fan, and I was, and still, I'll be honest, to a degree, am, to a certain level, an Aaron Rodgers skeptic, especially with the Steelers. My big thing is, hey, if you look at the last 5 years for Aaron Rodgers, no playoff win since 2020, hasn't been a consistently great quarterback since 2021, 2 years removed from an Achilles surgery, and he happens to be 41 years old playing behind a bad offensive line in Pittsburgh. Like, how am I supposed to believe this is going to work? With that being said, a lot of what you saw, like if you look at Aaron Rodgers' passing chart against the Jets, 120-yard throw down the field. So there was a lot of get the ball to your hands quick. Arthur Smith was like, we know we have some limitations up front, but we got some good weapons in DK Metcalf, Jonnu Smith, who can make runs after the catch, some good screen games. The big thing for Pittsburgh is going to be no penalties, got to play ahead of the sticks. Let's get it into 2nd and 5. If we don't convert there, let's get in 3rd and short situations and see if we can pick up first downs with Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell and others. But there's an element of this team's going to have to play very much on script. What made Aaron Rodgers so great in his prime was the improvisational skills. Well, part of that's gone, because he's 41 off an Achilles and isn't as mobile, but also he had some great offensive lines in Green Bay that gave him the opportunity to make some of those plays out of the pocket when it called for it, that he's just not going to have that luxury in Pittsburgh. But play within the game plan. Arthur Smith, I thought, dialed up a really, really smart scheme against the Jets, and I think he looked better than even the biggest Aaron Rodgers fans thought it would look, especially for week one. So is it sustainable? It depends on how other defensive coordinators adjust to Pittsburgh and how Arthur Smith adjusts from there. But overall, I was very impressed by the Steelers. And, I mean, quick stat here. In the Mike Tomlin era coming into this game, when the Steelers give up 30 or more points, they're 7-41. Oof. So that is a rare win under those circumstances. So, kudos to Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith. I thought those two guys. And by the way, shout out Chris Boswell for drilling a 60-yarder to in essence win the game, and Jalen Ramsey sealed it with the big hit. But good win for the Steelers for sure against the Jets. Yeah,
100%. I think Chris Boswell with Justin Tucker all the way out of the way might be the best kicker in the AFC, might be the NFL at this point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Money,
and then I'll move to Carter.
Well, being the Packers fan that I am, I locked in for every single second of that Green Bay and Detroit game. And there was one quick comment I wanted to throw out about that Pittsburgh game. Watching Aaron Rodgers play the way he did made me feel like I was 15 years old again. It brought a smile to my face. I was so happy. But getting to the Green Bay Detroit game, I was nervous. The fact that we were favorited by 1.5 points, but the money line was still pretty close to even. It made me really nervous, and I thought Detroit was going to pick up right where they left off, but Obviously, they did not. Their offensive line, I think, is kind of their biggest sore thumb of their game right now. And the Packers D-line did play really good. And, with Micah Parsons coming in there, he played less than half the snaps. But one thing that I really did notice in that game is the factor of Micah Parsons being on that defensive line just opens up opportunities for so many other guys on that line. Luke Van Ness, who's I think just in his second, maybe third year now, as well as Rashad Gary. Those guys got a lot of pressures. Rashad Gary ended up with a sack as well. And they just looked really solid. The secondary for the Packers still has a lot of holes. Keeson Nixon got cooked pretty much a majority of the game. And he came out with a statement saying from now on, he wants to see everybody's best guy on every team. I don't want to see him guard everybody's best guy on every team. The play calling for Detroit, obviously they're hurting without Ben Johnson. It seemed very repetitive. They kept trying to just force that ball to Gibbs, but Green Bay's defense was just shutting him down. There wasn't a lot of trick plays. There wasn't a lot of, stay on your toes. We're going to try to catch you off guard. It's just not the Lions that we're used to seeing. And they did end up getting that touchdown right in the fourth quarter with less than a minute left off of an amazing one-handed grab. I don't remember the exact or the name of that Lions player. But
Tesla.
Yes. What a way to introduce yourself into the league. I mean, an amazing catch to haul that one in. But really, Detroit's offense, I know it's week one and I don't want to overreact, but I would be a little bit worried just because, you're not getting those explosive plays way down the field that you're used to. You're not converting on fourth down when you're used to doing that either. Yeah. Dan Campbell, I think, is going to have to try to take a step back this year and not be as aggressive as we have seen the Lions be until they can try to get that offense figured back out with their new play calling.
Yeah.
One thing, too, with Detroit, the concerns for me started even before the ball was kicked off because they gave Jamison Williams kind of big money in an extension. And I didn't like that move. That was the first kind of red flag about this. The trajectory of the Lions was that decision, just because we haven't really seen anything from Jamison Williams that really that really makes it where paying him that much money is worth it for Detroit, I think.
Well, especially when you had just drafted Tesla, and especially when receiver is probably the easiest position to find in the draft, and especially in Detroit with Goff and with Dan Campbell, I think they can develop that position pretty fast. So I'm with you. That was a curious move, and also this did not get a lot of buzz because listen, I heard someone once say about offensive lines, they're like an air conditioning system. You only talk about them when they're not working. You just kind of take it for granted. You take good protection for granted. And the loss of Frank Ragnow to retirement, during the offseason was a sneaky, massive move for Detroit. And so that O-line is still really good. Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, but that was a big, big loss for that Lions team up front. And you saw that, like you said, Carter. I mean, Micah Parsons, even in limited snaps, where his greatness is not necessarily getting to the quarterback to the rate of a TJ Watt or Myles Garrett. It's just getting in his grill, in the pocket, and making, especially as guys immobile as Jared Goff, as uncomfortable as can be. And I think he's going to be a phenomenal fit in Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm sure that the Lions will figure it out at a certain point, but it definitely looked like they had 3 brand new offensive linemen, which they did. They had to move Graham Glasgow to center. They're starting Tate Ratledge, and they just decided that this year they're going to start Mahogany. So that's a whole new front 3 beside Sewell and Decker, who Sewell is still the best right tackle in the league. I don't think he was fully ready to play Parsons week 1, which is 100% fair. I don't think anybody was expecting Parsons to play on the Packers in week 1 because Chris Collinsworth wouldn't shut up about it. But it's something that I don't think we really need to keep an eye on, and maybe Lions fans were getting a little upset at him. I don't think you need to worry about that. I think Micah Parsons may just be a freak accident for Penei Sewell, and that'll just kind of get swept under the rug. Now, Nate, what is a game that you ended up watching that you saw some things that you liked or disliked?
The game I'm going to touch on is the Dolphins and Colts game.
Okay.
Two for very different spectrums. of positives and negatives. I'm gonna start off with the positives because I'm gonna get positive with the Colts. The biggest question, or shall I say, concern with the Colts coming into the season was to play behind center, the quarterback position, as with the career resumes of Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, they weren't great, right? Um, and the culture as a whole, all around team, was actually a pretty nice squad, all things considered, all around them. It's just the quarterback position was lacking.
Yeah.
Well, we thought at least. And well, Sunday, Daniel Jones decides to just pop off. Go though 22 not 29, 270 yards, and scored 3 touchdowns, one passing and 2 on the ground. It was one of the best performers. Well, before Josh Allen showed up, he probably was the top performer of this past week. But then Josh Allen showed up and squashed that. But Daniel Jones surprised me a lot. The biggest question with that though was that due to him having a resurgence, or what shall I say, redemption arc with the coach, or is it Dolphins defense just that horrible? And nextly, the run game was great. They rushed for a combined 156 yards and 2 touchdowns, both by Daniel Jones. And the team as a whole was incredible. The defense was immaculate, getting 3 sacks. But now I'm gonna get to the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins suck. Tua Tagovailoa, he threw 2 pretty horrific picks. The first one was a pretty bad high ball intended for Tyreek Hill, was picked up by Cam Bynum, and then the second one was just a straight bullet pass to edge rusher to a straight bullet pass to edge rusher. Leonto Letu. And then there's already frustrations being shown by Tyreek Hill. And a standout stat line from Tua Tagovailoa was not his interceptions. He had a QBR over 2.7.
Oof.
That's bad.
Yeah.
And the defense, we all know, the defense was horrific. And I think my biggest takeaway from this week, as a whole, the Miami Dolphins are gonna absolutely implode by week 6. Absolutely implode.
That feels generous, even.
Yeah.
I'm saying Tyreek Hill's gonna be traded. Coach is gone. Coach is gone. GM's probably gone. I would say Tua's gone. He has a humongous cap hit, so he's not going nowhere. But the Miami Dolphins rebuild is explosion is here a lot sooner than even I expected, and I was very low on the Dolphins this season.
Yeah. Well, with all this talk about, the Dolphins are going to implode, they're the worst team in the league, I have here a nicer snapshot for every NFL team. Now, I want to hear maybe a little bit of discussion on where everybody maybe sit with these. They're not necessarily hot takes, but I think they are a positive for every single team this week, no matter how badly they lost. And we'll just start right with the Dolphins. We'll see what you guys have to say about it, if you agree with it or not. But for the Dolphins, at least, Devin Achane needs big money when his rookie contract is up. He's going to need the money. If the Dolphins want to keep him around and wherever he goes to, he's going to get big money.
Well, it's a speed-based, elusive running back, so are we really going to trust him to stay healthy past 28, 29? That's the big question. I think it's irresponsible as a franchise to give big money to running backs. I mean, look what's going on in San Francisco right now. The really kind of exception to this rule is Derrick Henry, but I don't think that we should count people who are not humans as as any sort of part of that discustion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Don't forget Saquon, by the way, because Saquon.
Yeah, Saquon too.
Yeah,
Saquon and Derrick Henry, kind of again, they're aliens. So I think talking about them in this context is hard because as talented as Devon A-Chain is, he's still a human. He's not Saquon or Derrick Henry.
Yeah, and that's 100% fair. Moving on to Bills. This might be the year the Bills can do it. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. I personally also agree that I think the Bills currently, as it stands, my personal Super Bowl favorite. I mean, going into the season, to me, I mean, I just had this feel. This is this feel I had with the Bills. Just I can't describe it. This is just vibe, slash feel you have with the team, and that's what I had with the Bills coming in Sunday night in the fourth quarter, with 7 minutes left in the game. They showed why.
Yeah.
Which is coming back down 15 with 7 minutes left in the game. Josh Allen puts on a clinic. I think if this has to be the best chance to do it.
If they do, I'll say this, Nate. If they do, Josh Allen's probably gonna have to overcome that defense. And this was a little bit of I don't want to say a little bit. It was a huge concern of mine a year ago for Buffalo. Is like I know Josh is going to get it done. I know the fact that they've upgraded the running game with a good O-line. Joe Brady's a really, really smart offensive coordinator. And again, we know what Josh can do with the weapons. Kincaid, Keon Coleman, I'm telling you, he's going to have a really big year. Based on the reports you heard out of Bill's training camp and you saw what he did against Baltimore, Keon Coleman's going to ball out. Yeah. The question is, I mean, a year ago I remember reading a stat that was really troubling. Is that the Buffalo Bills gave up more points per game. I think it was somewhere like 35 points or something. 35 points a game against playoff teams, which is the most that any playoff team had given up against other playoff teams coming into the postseason. I don't know if 35 is the exact number, but it was somewhere in that ballpark. And now, listen, some of this is you're playing Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and there's really no defense for them. But listen, I do think they were my pick before the season to be the 1 seed in the AFC, and I think Josh is going to be the league MVP, in part because I think he's going to have to. I think he's going to count for 50 touchdowns, rushing and passing. He's going to have like a Peyton Manning 2013, Mahomes 2018 type of a year where he's having to win shootouts because of a bad defense. So, listen, this could be the year for Buffalo, but if they do, it is going to have to be, they're going to have to win these 38-35 type shootout games. That they will really need to get that 1 seed, so they'll just have to win 3 playoff games rather than 4.
Yeah, I can definitely buy that. And now, moving on to Patriots. I want to hear what you guys think about this one. If the Patriots fully commit to Travion Henderson as their number 1 running back, it's not going to hurt the team, and he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Wow.
If they full commit.
Listen. So, like, we're talking 22 carries a game commit?
Yeah, if Ramondre Stevenson, we watch Ramondre Stevenson take a back seat, Travion Henderson is the clear number 1 back. He will win Rookie of the Year.
I mean, I don't know how you could have liked what you saw from him in the preseason. He's got some flashes. He's twitchy. Young running backs tend to probably pop more quick than any position in the league, just because of fresh legs and all of it. So I don't know if I'd go so far as to say Offensive Rookie of the Year, because I really like another running back in the AFC, Amari and Hampton with the Chargers, for my pick there. But he could, he's got the potential. The Patriots have tried to address that offensive line. They did, adding Will Campbell in the draft. So we'll see. But I do agree with you. They should commit to him long term. He's a really nice player. Yeah.
Now with the Jets, this is a fairly easy one. Breece Hall is still good. He is still a top flight running back. Maybe not elite, but he is still good.
Yeah, I had a lot of concerns, especially after last year, about Breece Hall. But, week 1, the whole backfield, Justin Fields looked like it, in a way, rejuvenated and just kind of happy to be a starter. And, Justin Fields' athleticism was on full display, and Breece Hall as well. So I think it was an encouraging sign. A very encouraging loss for the Jets, if a loss can be encouraging.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I definitely agree with that. As far as the Ravens go, even there's people that are going to say Derrick Henry threw the game there at the end with his fumble. You do not need to worry about Derrick Henry. I don't think Derrick Henry is going to be one of those players that is ever going to be washed.
Listen, I will be completely honest with you guys. Going back to last season and to a much lesser degree this year, I'm thinking, okay, he's a running back. That position ages quickly. He's in year 10. He's taken a lot of punishment. eventually he's going to slow down. And eventually, Father Time's undefeated. At some point, he's going to slow down in his career unless he just pulls a Calvin Johnson and retires at his prime. But with that being said, I've never seen Asher sort of hit on this. I've never seen a player like him. You should not be 6'5" and be like, he's a lion who's as fast as a cheetah. It's unbelievable stuff. Like his second level speed.
He's an
off the
elephant.
charts.
He's an elephant.
He's
as
an
fast
elephant
as
with the
cheetah.
speed of a cheetah. Like he's throwing Buffalo Bills defenders. Derrick Henry's gonna be fine. I would not worry about him at all. That backfield with him and Lamar is the single most difficult running game plan to stop in the entire NFL.
Yes.
Yeah. Now,
he ain't going anywhere.
yeah. Now, for the Bengals, rookie linebacker Demetrius Knight has already replaced both linebackers they lost this offseason. And those two linebackers being Jermaine Pratt and Akeem Davis-Gaither, who were decently sized parts of that. Not very good, but okay at times, Bengals defense. He's already replaced both of them with himself.
Definitely Gaither. Obviously, he's replaced Gaither. And I think he's halfway there to replace him. I forgot his name.
I need more sample size, but yeah.
I think he's like
Only game in.
halfway there. He's halfway there.
Yeah, I can buy that. After one
wanna
game,
see how
he
he
did look
performs.
fairly good.
I
Okay.
need to see it against a like actual team and not the Cleveland Browns.
Joe Flacco's elite, man.
Yeah.
He's elite. Joe Flacco's elite.
Now,
Listen, a lot of quarterbacks are going to be elite against that Bengals defense.
It's
I mean,
true.
they're a missed kick away from winning that game. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of the thing that's gotten
Yeah.
swept. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals offense had 7 yards in the second half. Like
yeah,
that is
insane.
unthinkable.
I
for
mean, it's just
Burrow
it's
chasing
just-
Higgins.
It's tradition at this point.
Yeah.
It's tradition for the Bengals to start the season just like it's like helpless. They look like a fish. Like their offense always looks like a fish out of water in the
And-
early part of the season.
And I thought they tried to address that by playing Burrow's significant snaps in the preseason. Same old
Yeah,
story. It's
nothing.
at that point, it almost kind of comes back to the coach. Zach Taylor's on a sneaky. The seat's not hot, but it's kind of like the when you warm up your seat in the car. It's warm, right? Like it's getting toasty.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, for the Browns, who also played in that game, obviously the levels will be different for this, but the Browns defense will be as good as it has been, even if Myles Garrett has to miss time with an injury. The Browns
chance.
defense
No.
will still be
No.
good.
Without that
No.
player.
Not as
No,
good.
without that
They
player.
need him.
No.
Not
No.
at all.
No, the top
He's an
five
all-time
player in the
talent.
league.
Yeah.
He is.
He's only a top 5 player in the league.
He's the heart and soul of the defense too. Like I just feel like the team would be so much less motivated. And like it's still talent on the field. Like there's still professional talent on the field,
Yeah.
but
It's
you
like-
lose your guy. It's kind of hard, especially when the team's gonna be as bad as it is, not really contending. If he goes down, or what's even there to live for if you're on that
What's-
defense?
And
Yeah.
how's the pass rush even? The pass rush takes a massive hit.
Yeah.
Because it was number 2 on that team.
Oh, I don't even remember.
What's his name? They moved on from Zadarius Smith a year ago to the Lions,
Yeah.
and now he's actually with Philadelphia, and he was a good number 2 pass rusher a couple of years back. But he's the closest thing that we've seen in the modern NFL to Reggie White.
Yeah.
Just a guy who made professional athletes, grown men, look like they were high schoolers, just physically dominating them. And again, by the like, Myles Garrett's almost like the Derrick Henry of defense in the
Yeah.
NFL. Like a guy
That's
that
what I
big
was
should not be
gonna
able to
say.
move that fast. He's an all-time talent who's going to have a busting can someday.
He is from the same alien species as Derek.
Yeah,
No
Him-
question.
accurate.
Yeah.
Now, for the Steelers didn't take a step back like everybody thought, and Aaron Rodgers will be able to sneak them a playoff win.
Playoff. Okay, so here's the thing. That hasn't happened in 9 years. Like that would if Aaron Rodgers ends up leading the Steelers to a playoff win, I have absolutely no complaints whatsoever, because that has been my knock on Mike Tomlin hasn't been, oh, you haven't won a playoff game. It's that they've gotten housed. Like none of these games have been close.
Right.
Yeah.
If you go back to a blowout loss to Brady, it's Tom Brady, so you kind of chalk that up to what it is. But they gave up 45 points to Blake Bortles and the Jags in a home playoff game off of a bye. What was after that? They got blown out by Baker and the Browns at home. A year after that, they got blown out by the Chiefs. 2 years after that blown up by Buffalo, a year after that blown out by the Ravens, who you're supposed to be familiar with. Like, those games are always close, and you still get housed by Lamar, Derrick Henry, and those guys. So yeah, there's an element of if this season's over and the Pittsburgh Steelers go to Buffalo and they lose 31-20, but the previous week they beat, no offense, Asher, the Houston Texans or the LA Chargers or somebody, I can't complain. I didn't have Super Bowl expectations coming in. I'll take it. I got no complaints. So that take, I wouldn't say it's a hot take. I don't expect it, but if it happens, I'll be overjoyed. And I will have to formally apologize to Aaron Rodgers for the doubt that I have for them this season. I'll have to.
Yeah. Now, as far as those Texans go, obviously there's been a little bit of offensive line disruption, but the run game is going to stay at an okay to consistent level with Nick Chubb while Joe Mixon is on his way back.
I don't know.
I
don't know. We need Mixon back.
What does it matter if the run game's good if we can't create anything in the passing game? I mean, your run game can be fine. Like, I mean, I'm not to be at the level that it would be with Joe Mixon would just be to say we have a pretty decent running game. Like, it's not a negative, a downside of the team is what I would say it would be with Joe Mixon. But even if it's at that level, the Texans' problems are still the Texans' problems. Can't protect C.J. Stroud. And there's just it seems like a lack of creativity in the passing offense. It's just it's rough.
The Texans just have a O-line curse, I guess. They had it with Deshaun Watson, and now they have it with C.J. Stroud.
Yep.
We haven't had a competent O-line since the prime mashup days.
Yeah.
And like Aaron Foster, those prime, like 2012, 2013 days. Those are the last time they had an actual competent O-line.
Yeah. And we had an incompetent quarterback, so it's like it's just like this trade-off back and forth. I think C.J. Stroud's still good. I think a lot of people are very negative on him and saying, it's just continuing to look bad. He's not turning the ball over. That's something. Like, I feel like, and it's not like C.J. Stroud's losing the Texans games. I mean, the C.J. Stroud was leading a drive to potentially take the lead in that game late, and then you get an unfortunate fumble. It's just one step forward, 2 steps backwards.
Yeah,
they're also playing a Rams defense, which pass rush is one of the best in the entire league, and a Rams team that I think is a sneaky NFC contender itself. So like we're playing in the Rams, the new OC on the Texans, just came from the Rams, and so a lot of his plays, while it's not straight from the Rams playbook, but the Rams probably have an idea of what the offense was going to be. So I think a lot of what we saw on this past week from the Texans isn't so much of a concern. I think it's just so much. Well, there were some concerns there, but it happens a lot more just what the Rams are. And that's an incredible, insane pass rush. It's an insane team, and I think the Texans will be fine, but the O-line problems will always be the O-line problems, unfortunately.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, with the Colts, obviously we saw Danny Dimes ball out on offense, but I think that their defense will be able to win them several games this year. Not just one, but several.
I can buy it just with some of the names that are on that side of the ball and the kind of inspiring performance they put up against a really bad Miami offense. I mean, it's possible, especially in that division. Yeah, the defense could probably win them both games against the Titans. Like, I don't really see them making much noise against Indianapolis. Maybe they pick off a game against Houston or Jacksonville as well. So I can buy that their defense will contribute to them having success.
Yeah. Now, with the Jaguars, their roster seems more cohesive after not throwing money at a bunch of free agents.
Agreed. I think they're going to win the AFC South this season. Again, sorry, Asher. I apologize. I really think they are. I think first of all, the hiring of Liam Cohen, I think was a good one. I know he had the corny Duval press. It was weird. It was bad. With that being said, he's a really smart OC. We saw what he did with Baker down in Tampa. So I mean, it's not like they don't have weapons. Obviously, you got Trevor, you got Travis Hunter's a big start, but Brian Thomas Jr. out of wide receiver U, LSU, they just every other year they put out a superstar in the NFL. I think he's going to have an absolutely gigantic year. I will say I was a bit confused as to why they traded Tank Bigsby to the Philadelphia Eagles. That was a strange move. Having a two-headed monster with Etienne and Bigsby, I feel like could have been really beneficial. So I think a little less of the Jags offense than I did 2 days ago. But with that being said, and by the way, defensively, again, Bryce Young struggled, but Bryce Young was good in the second half of last year. Like that's not. I don't look at that to the equivalent that I looked at Miami struggles offensively against the Colts, where I think it's just a bunch of institutional issues with the Dolphins. I think Jacksonville's going to be a sneaky good team this year, and we'll take the AFC South. I really like what they're going to do.
Yeah.
I want to ask just a little question. You mentioned the LSU and the wide receiver U stuff. Between Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, they're all set up for big years. I think we obviously know that Chase and Jefferson are the two kind of best receivers in the NFL right now. Out of those four, what order would you guys put them in terms of total receiving yards that they finish the year with? Just with the kind of four main LSU star wide receivers that we get to watch on a week-to-week basis.
I would go Chase number one just because of the volume of throws in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's hard not to put I can't put anybody else above. I think Jefferson's the best receiver in football. And again, he had a nice fourth quarter. J.J. McCarthy really stepped up big against Chicago. I still think a lot of that Minnesota offense is predicated on the run game with Aaron Jones with that O-line. But so I'm going to go Jefferson second, Brian Thomas Jr. third, and Malik Neighbors. Listen, the quarterback situation is too dysfunctional with New York. The offensive line really struggled against Washington's front. So Malik Neighbors in fourth, but it's not a bad fourth. He goes for over 1,000 yards, I think. At some point, Jackson Dart, aka Anakin Skywalker, is going to step in and be great. But I'll probably just go. I'll go Chase, Jefferson, Thomas Jr., and Malik Neighbors.
Yeah. I can buy that. I can also see maybe with a little bit of dysfunction. There are still some receivers that in the midst of dysfunction, they will still ball out. I feel like Neighbors may be in that select group. So I wouldn't be shocked if he is third or even second on that list. I don't think there's any beating out Jamar Chase just because of how much they do with him. And I think that because how the Vikings offense at least looked against Chicago, everybody's going to be keying in almost exclusively on Jefferson and the run game. Yeah. So I think we're going to see a little more spread out passes to Thielen, to Hawkinson, to Jalen Naylor, to some of these other receivers. Those are going to be the receivers that get them all the way down there. And then when Justin Jefferson cooks his guy and leaves him in the dust at the other end of the end zone is when he's going to get all his touchdown grabs.
Mm-hmm. I can buy it.
Now, with the Titans, Jeffrey Simmons is always going to make their defense at least passable. Not elite, not really good, but good, passable.
I can buy that, especially with what they did against Denver.
Yeah, Denver didn't look amazing. There was not really a point in that game where I was like, "Oh man, Denver's offense is just absolutely cooking." But
they look bad.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be an issue that repeats itself. I'm not very high on where Denver goes this year in terms of offensively.
Yeah,
defense is good.
Yeah, defense is good.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say, too, because that's my big contender for Denver. They are the current owners of the most underrated defensive line in football. With Benito, Cooper, Zach Allen, they are the current owners of the most underrated defensive line in football.
Underrated may be an understatement.
It might be.
There might be inching their way up to... inching their way up to near, not the top, but inching their way up near the top echelon of pass rushers. I mean, last year they had actually the record of total sacks as the team, I believe.
Yeah.
And again, last week they had 6 sacks, all of which came from 6 different players. It's a team effort, and of course they found a gem in Nick Benito last season, who's continuing to drive as well for a secondary that's insane as well with Shatan and
Baron.
His name. Him and Baron.
Yeah.
Back there, that's gonna help that out even more so because when you have a tight secondary that's gonna lock down long enough, that the defensive line is gonna benefit off that just as much. And so, I think they're definitely getting out of the underrated tier and getting themselves up in the upper echelon. Are they quite there yet? Not yet, but they're for sure knocking on the door.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. Their offense looked very shaky, like you guys said, but I think their defense, that's another defense that I think is going to keep them in games. Now, at least where the Kansas City Chiefs are concerned, excluding Trent McDuffie, Kansas City defensive backs have the same disease as their receivers. It doesn't matter how bad they look on paper, they are always passable. They are always good.
I think when Steve Spagnuolo is running your defense, I think you're always going to be passive.
Yeah.
It's scheme over team. It feels like with them, just because of how good Spags is at calling a defense and kind of getting those guys in the right spot, the positioning. Like it just gets better as the season goes on too. It's a kind of slow progression. It seems like every year with Kansas City. And the defense is going to need to be good because we saw the inconsistencies offensively.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kansas City is always one of those teams that I feel like you think they're starting to regress. You think they're starting to get a little bit weaker, but then come around week 7 or 8, they're going to show you they can still compete with everybody.
Yeah. Now, as far as the Raiders go, Pete Carroll hasn't lost a step even after his pseudo-retirement.
I'll buy it. I might buy it in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But I need to see more.
I mean, it's Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
He's not, in terms of, I don't think he's not in his prime anymore, that's for sure.
No, yeah.
The game has not passed Pete Carroll by.
He's not. He's become more of he's become more of an incredible floor raiser at this point. He's looking like that for the Raiders.
There's also good talent there too.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah.
Geno's going to remain kind of inconsistent. You're going to get some really great throws and you're going to get some really bad throws, but that's just kind of the Geno Smith experience. But I mean, between Genty and Bowers, that can make a lot of coaches look good.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, the fact that they were I know they only scored 20 points against New England, but the fact that Geno threw for 364 yards and got basically nothing from his run game and nothing from Ashton Genty playing his first game.
Yeah.
What's going to happen once the kid kind of comes into his own? Like they could be one of the more sneaky good offenses in the NFL just because of what they have. I mean, Bowers is just is it crazy to say quickly that Brock Bowers is already the best tight end in football?
No, I don't think so at all.
With the inconsistency of some of the top guys, especially like your Andrews, your Kelseys, and then now Kittle being injured.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The previous best guys are kind of getting up there in age. The new generation of guys coming up.
Yeah.
He's
definitely going to be.
With that performance, it's hard not to argue that. And with what he did at college too, like the guy's just a baller.
He's definitely going to be.
Yeah.
He's no doubt about it. He's definitely going to be the best tight end for a while.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
It's about not when, not if.
Yep.
Yeah. Now with the Chargers, they should not have gotten rid of Keenan Allen in the first place.
Old reliable.
I mean, the fact that he's been there is barely been there at all and just steps in and is instantly Justin Herbert's favorite third down guy. Like they haven't lost a step at all.
Exactly.
Even a weird time when they got rid of Keenan Allen, I was questioning because it was between him and Mike Williams and then Joey Bosa and Khalil. I thought they should have done Joey Bosa more so and kept him and Khalil Mack. So I definitely agree with that.
I think the people of Sao Paulo have to think that Quentin Johnson is a Hall of Famer.
They must.
Listen,
he must be Calvin Johnson down there.
he must have gotten vaccinated against the drops down there. I don't know what happened. Like he has had a bad case of the drops going back to his last year at TCU. Like it's gone. Like he was great. He was the best receiver on the field for the Chargers.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy because if he comes back and performs the way he has over the past, like especially last year, like if he performs like that. The narrative that he's going to pick up of being a Brazil merchant is
his insanity run.
International merchant.
I mean, maybe the guy's figured it out. We'll see.
Cartel merchant.
Yeah. Now with the Cowboys, the Cowboys linebackers are all actually pretty good. They just need time to gel in the system.
Maybe I'll say this: I love their defensive line more than I thought they would. I would. Now losing Micah Parsons, they obviously got worse in that front. But the kid Houston that they have, he had a nice year in his rookie year in Detroit. He'd been dealing with injuries. Going against an Eagles front that is arguably the best offensive line in football, I was impressed with what he brought to the table. The kid, I'm forgetting, Marshawn Nealon coming off the edge. He's kind of come off an injury, trying to make an impact. Dallas's defensive line obviously is going to take a step back from what they were without Micah Parsons. It's not going to be as bad as I think we thought it would be. Like the fact that they kind of held Saquon in check in the second half. Like if Jalen was having to make plays with his arm, with his legs. So I was actually quite impressed more by the defensive line than the linebackers.
I can buy that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now with the Giants, the Cam Scattaboo hype is going to be very hard to contend with very soon.
He dude, I don't know how he does it, but every play it's like he needs contact in order for the play to actually matter to him.
Yeah.
So it's like Cam Scattaboo. If I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm saying, all right, now nobody touch him. If nobody touches him, he's going to be lost. He's not going to know what to do. He's not going to know what's going on. And then that's how you can stop him. But just the guy lowers his head and shoulders into every single player he can
He's a
find.
fullback.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just I don't know how someone who plays with that kind of play style stays healthy. But then again, Derrick Henry's playing his double-digit season in his prime of running over people and stuff. So maybe I don't know as much as I think I do. But just it's incredible that he's doing that. I just can't see it being sustainable, right? Like it cannot be that. Like that can't be sustainable to play that way.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Scatabo will definitely be – he will be that next, I think, very entertaining power back that we'll see kind of like come up in the league a little bit, because that's what everybody really loves to see out of running backs. That's why people love Derrick Henry so much, because you run straight through people. If you get a guy that's, I'm not knocking on Cam here, but if you get a guy that's undersized compared to Derrick Henry and he's out there doing the same things, I mean, people are just going to eat him up. He had people on the Arizona State train, he had people on the Arizona State train just because of his intensity and how fired up he gets during these games.
He almost single-handedly beat Texas in that Peach Bowl semifinal. Yeah,
he did single-handedly beat Iowa State in the Big 12 championship.
He did.
Yeah,
you're right.
And I compare Cam to Larry Zonka from the Miami Dolphins from the 70s.
Yeah.
Just going to this headhunting. That's all he is headhunting. Not headhunting. Living contact. That's what he is.
Mike Allstott, too.
Yeah. Now, for the Eagles, this year is the year of Nolan Smith. This is going to be a Nolan Smith takeover year. They are not going to miss Josh Sweat's sack production because Nolan Smith's going to do it.
I mean, it feels like Philadelphia's defensive line each and every season that they have a deep run, they just kind of slide. I mean, a few years ago it was Hassan Reddick. Last year was Josh Sweat. Now I could very much see Nolan Smith being that guy. They've invested on that defensive line. Like just the attention that Jalen Carter is going to bring up front, hopefully with no saliva involved next time, is going to get double teamed inside. And Nolan Smith's going to be coming around the edge and making plays. So I could see him having a breakout year. As good as deep as that Eagles defensive line is, as fresh as those bodies are going to be over the course of the game, I think Nolan Smith very well could have a big season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that defense is scary.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Now with the Commanders, Deebo Samuel will officially help them more than hurt them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, having a guy like that certainly does not make your offense worse. His issue's just been staying healthy. Like it's not a production or an inconsistency thing. It's just been, can he stay on the field? And I think looking back now, especially after, we're a week into the season. I don't want to jump the gun too much, but I heard someone say on television today, do the 49ers have like the worst team doctors in the NFL? It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like some of it's Kyle Shanahan brings a very physical brand of football to the table. I mean, Washington does to a degree as well, but yeah, Debo's going to not be as relied upon in that Commanders offense because they still have obviously Eckler and they can throw the ball to Scary Terry and Zach Ertz. But I think he's absolutely a plus for that offense. Now beyond this year, who knows? Because he's an old 29 because of the hits that he's taken.
Right.
But I think he'll be a very, very good impact player for that offense.
I mean, they must practice on concrete
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
They got to.
Every year.
Yeah. Now, for the Bears defense has gotten pretty good the more interchangeable they get.
Oh yeah, they proved it last night because they were without multiple starters. They were without two starting cornerbacks, Kyler and Jalen Johnson, and then they were without the starting linebacker T.J. Stewart. Yeah, TJ, and they were in that game. They were keeping the Bears in the game up until the J.J. McCarthy takeover in the fourth quarter. They were keeping them in the game.
Yeah, Nick McLeod was guarding Justin Jefferson
Yeah.
pretty good at the nickel spot.
Oh yeah.
And Deshaun Wright was doing this thing too. They called him from the practice squad
Yeah.
right before he was holding his own.
Yeah.
That's just
Now, for the Lions, you don't want to underestimate them. That's when they start beating people.
I think Dan Campbell can feed off that.
Yeah.
I think that's no. Go ahead, Carter.
No. Yeah, like I feel like Dan Campbell definitely can feed off that, and it's fuel. It's been a few years now of the Lions finally coming out of that deep, dark hole that they were in for the longest time. You know, they're finally really starting to see some success. They're making the playoffs, winning playoff games. But I just don't know if I feel like they're so unused to the success that it could be hard that if they fall off the tracks a little bit, finding their way right back on.
You know, Dan Campbell had such an interesting quote that is aging, unfortunately, kind of well for the Lions. If you remember when they blew that 17-point lead to the Niners in the NFC Championship game, he said, hey, guys, there's no guarantee we're going to be back here. Like, that might have been our best chance. And it was kind of like a harsh reality. Like, the NFL is it's a league of parity. Yes, there's been dynasties, but sometimes you do just have a small little window. We thought last year, I mean, they were my pick to go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC last year. They go 15-2, even despite the defense, and they picked their worst game of the year against Washington to have their worst game of the season. And so, listen, like we talked about earlier, the losses up front on the offensive line, the fact that, listen, they get Aiden Hutchinson back on defense. The DJ Moore signing was a solid one and a sneaky good one in the offseason. I think Aaron Glenn is such a brilliant defensive coordinator that loss is going to be felt even as much as the Ben Johnson one is, because at least you trust the personnel Detroit brings to the table offensively. So, and you add Ben Johnson to it. Yeah. Now you've got an unstoppable force. Whereas the case with Detroit's defense, that was all scheme. That was all coordinators, especially as beat up as it was last year. If anything will take the Lions out, it's O-line play and it's that defense.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely agree. Now,
I get unfortunate flashbacks to the Texans when they were up 24-0 on Kansas City.
Exactly.
And the kind of I don't think it'll be as rapid of a fall off as it was for Houston, but the potential to go from being up there as one of the top dogs in your conference to being a basement dweller. I mean, it can be a quick slide. Yeah. Especially in the league that we operate in today.
Yeah.
The Lions are definitely wait and see for me in terms of what direction they're going towards, because after last week, it's not looking incredible, but I gotta wait and see. I need to see them for the next few weeks and determine by diagnosis for the future.
What do you guys consider a failure for the Lions this season? What is considered what is a failure for them?
Can't make the playoffs.
I mean, you can't go from 15 wins in the one seed and miss out entirely. That would be a failed season.
No.
Yeah.
Missing the playoffs and your offense and defense take a significant dip with the losses of both coordinators.
Yeah.
Losing all the departures from Detroit really kind of lowered both their floor and their ceiling. So I'm still in the wait and see period because Dan Campbell I think is a good coach.
Absolutely.
But we'll have to see.
Yeah. The Packers receiving core is way better than sports media gives them credit for.
I was gonna say I think the addition of Matthew Golden was a very underrated, huge addition to them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people were seeing him as like a wide receiver 2 kind of guy. Well, he's not. I don't think he'd be an alpha guy, but I think he could be a very number 1 guy and can start to see a picture being painted for this wide receiver room as a guy for Jordan Love to go to, reliable, hopefully stay healthy, and can catch the ball where some of these guys receiving will relax. And so I think now you have that, like they do on the defensive side of the ball. Parsons, I think we start to see a picture start to be painted with the wide receiver room. Now they have Matthew Golden in the room. I think they're not as. I think they're still they're underrated and they're still like in between 10 and 15 in terms of wide receiver cores. They're not like elite yet, but they're starting to make that stride now that with the Matthew Golden addition
Yeah.
for sure.
The biggest thing for me was the play from the tight end position in that
That
game
too.
against
That
Detroit.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Crap,
Yeah,
yep.
Tucker Kraft. Oh yeah, and I think there's there's a couple guys on Green Bay in their wide receiver core that I think really stand out. But I also think that what we saw a lot of on Sunday was Jordan Love being able to spread the ball out a lot. I think I want to say he completed passes to like 8 or more different receivers at one point or something like that. So I think just the play calling and the way that the defense was kind of playing from Detroit allowed Green Bay to really spread that ball like out and around. I mean, Datavion Wicks had a catch, and like whenever I saw him come down with the ball, I was like, "Wow, can't believe that!" Like, I can't believe he actually caught it. But I think as time goes on, we'll see maybe just like 1 or 2 more specific ones stand out than the others. I think we'll just have to kind of see who those guys are going to be.
Yeah, I think for me at least when I'm watching, the law of averages I think helps the Packers out a lot because yeah, they probably don't have a number 1 receiver right now, but they have like 5 or 6 guys that can play wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3.
100%.
Yes.
Now the Vikings, we already hit on this a little bit, but the Vikings have the best coaching staff in the league.
It's them or Kansas City. I mean,
Yeah,
I think Andy Reid and Spags is a
so.
pretty lethal combo, but
I think so.
KOC and Brian Flores are. I mean,
think
because
so.
here's the thing: Spags was not a very good head coach, and that's probably a good news for Kansas City because it means he's probably going to stay there in the long run. Flores again, it ended poorly, but I thought all things considered, given what he inherited, did a pretty decent job in Miami, and he's going to get an opportunity in the future. So anytime, it's kind of like what we saw last year with the Lions. Like I talked a lot about how Detroit has 3 head coaches on their team. I feel like Minnesota has 2 legitimate head coaches. Kevin O'Connell is one of the brilliant offensive minds. I mean, he won 13 games with Kirk Cousins, 14 with Sam Darnold, and we'll see what he does with McCarthy. Thus far, a pretty good start. And then Flores, you got to realize, Flores took over a defense that was the worst in the league in 2022 and has developed it into one of the best with relatively similar personnel. I know they've added guys, Dallas Turner to that side of the ball, but they're most of that is scheme based. I mean, Brock Purdy last year, I'll never forget. The Niners lost the Vikings. He goes up to Brian Flores after the game. He's like, "Bro, your scheme was crazy." Yeah. You don't hear quarterbacks saying that very often to coaches. That tells you all you need to know about Brian Flores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially the way he uses safeties and linebackers. It really makes it hard on quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks. And I didn't think Caleb was that bad by any means. I thought, not turning the ball over is big. All right, so I don't even think Caleb played bad, but the way that Flores can really use just the schematics of his defense to mess with young quarterbacks and inexperienced quarterbacks, it's pretty cool to see. And it's just it's things that anybody would love to see their team do. Yeah.
I mean, the way to describe Brian Flores is he's a psychopath. He's a psychopath of a play call. I mean, the blitz, it's insane. There's blitz heavy schemes, and then Kevin O'Connell, like a touchdown. I love Kevin O'Connell. Absolutely. He's getting up there in the head coach's realm. I think he's definitely top 5 right now. Top 5 head coach. He's proven himself last year, and he's continuing to prove himself. Again, this year.
Yeah. Now, for the Falcons, if Michael Penix keeps playing like this, there won't be any question who the franchise quarterback's going to be.
Well, go ahead, Bryson.
No, I was just gonna say I love the kid out of Washington. Yeah. I did. Moves way better than he gets credit for. Is a playmaker. He's got the arm talent. Really, really accurate. Cool, calm, collected, and man, that matters. Like we saw that a little bit from JJ last night, which was impressive. Listen, I'm a Michael Penix Jr. fan. So, and they've got weapons in Atlanta. Bijan Robinson, by his standards, did just about nothing against Tampa Bay, and they still almost won the game. So, I love what he brings to the table. I think he's absolutely the long-term answer at quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, if Atlanta can make a kick, then it's kind of a different conversation around them. I think you got to be optimistic, though. Penix at the end of last year, we saw him do it, which was lead the team down and score late in a game to take the lead. And, I mean, he just continues to do so now. The defense allowed Emeka Ibuka, who is an absolute star. I'm sure we'll talk about him here in a second. But the defense allowed that to happen, and the mood kind of is sour after the missed field goal to tie it. But Penix is great. He's clutch. He's just kind of got that calmness that you need a quarterback to have, and it's like standing strong in the eye of the hurricane. And Michael Penix can do that already at an elite level in just his second year, and that's what I think. Having so much experience in college, especially playing in the Big Ten and in the Pac-12 in its last season, playing in these tough environments, really kind of molded Penix into this calm and clutch player.
Yeah, 100%. Now, you are absolutely right, Asher. We are going to talk about Emeka Ibuka, but in my personal opinion, we've already seen him take Jalen McMillan's wide receiver 3 spot. He's going to take Chris Godwin's spot in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He will.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Guy's a stud. He's
outstanding.
Stud.
I mean, there was a quote today. There was a quote that was, I think, was released today from Mike Evans that said, basically, he drawed up his own play, he called his own route to Mike Evans last week.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has that freaking mentality.
Yeah.
I think he's bound. He has in the same training camp. He has the mentality. I mean, he's bound to take over the wide receiver room in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty good guy throwing him the ball too.
Yeah,
100%.
Baker, touchdown maker.
Mm-hmm.
Should be the Browns quarterback, but the Browns don't know how to do crap over there.
It's Cleveland. Nate, what do we expect? It's Cleveland Browns.
They're not allowed to have anything good. And they never will be. It's Cleveland.
I'd rather have a vengeance against the Browns for that shit. For that, giving up on Baker Mayfield after an injury.
One injury, man. Especially a guy like Stefanski too. I think Stefanski's a good coach.
I do too.
It was playing through a shoulder injury. Yeah. And they weren't letting him rest, and they got upset because he was playing well.
Yeah.
And they gave up on him, and definitely traded for Deshaun Watson. Thank you.
Baker's whole career is just a great story about perseverance.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Now, for the Saints, Pete Werner could be very close to taking the mantle of the Saints' best linebacker from Demario Davis.
Again, we're a little too early to make that claim. Yeah, I think Demario's still a pretty strong player.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
the Saints are bad though, so what will
they're
it
the
really
worst team in
matter?
football.
Yeah.
Any team led by Spencer Rattler is never going to win anything significant.
No.
We should know this by now.
Except against the Vols in the biggest game of our season, but outside of that, yeah.
Or against Clemson.
They've already given Chris Olave his 1,000th concussion.
Yeah.
With another
poor guy.
With another hospital. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Will Johnson though.
Yeah.
Well.
Big game. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. So
they almost won that game.
Yeah. So for the Carolina Panthers, Tedoroa McMillan is exactly who the Panthers needed to pick.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think there's an element of this is year 3 for Bryce. Obviously, they moved Adam Thielen back to Minnesota, but you've got Tech McMillan, you've got Chuba Hubbard running the football. Again, rough showing against Jacksonville, but as we talked about earlier, I think the Jags actually have a sneaky good defense, and I think they improved a lot in the offseason. Listen, Bryce played well at the end of last season, so given the fact that we've got a 2026 draft that is absolutely stacked with excellent quarterback play. You can talk about Kay Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier, you talk about Lenore Sellers, and we'll see if Arch Manning's able to kind of grow and develop at Texas. If you're Carolina, you're thinking, we're probably not a playoff team. We need to know for certain if Bryce is our guy after we gave up all this draft capital to acquire him. Because if not, we need to go ahead and move on. Because the NFL, if you stay on a quarterback too long, I mean, ask the New York Giants how that worked with Daniel Jones. It'll really put you in a rough spot moving forward, and people end up losing their jobs. So, Tet's a really talented receiver. There's a reason he was the first off the board out of Arizona. See if Bryce has got it with the true number one wide receiver. So I do agree with the pick.
Now we're going to wheel back around to the Cardinals. Will Johnson might be one of, if not the biggest, steal in this past draft.
Yeah.
100%.
That's fair.
Yes, and he might be an early favorite for defensive rookie of the year right now.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe he didn't go in the first round. That shot.
Yeah, I know. That was wild.
It was such a strange slide.
It's because of his
the injury, but man, when a guy like
number one-
this much talent doesn't hide.
He was the number one pure cornerback in this draft class.
No
I'm
question.
talking about the pure, because of course technically number one is Travis, but he wasn't pure. Pure corner, he was number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd put him as a better corner than Travis Hunter personally.
Yeah,
I
would
think.
too.
I think. But I mean, yeah, great steal, and that's what helps take teams from the bottom and pull them out of the basement is getting these steals in the draft. Now I want to see them do it a few more times, and I want to see Kyler play good in the month of November. So
Yeah.
a lot to tell. I saw a lot of Marvin Harrison.
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he's
And
gonna have
Trey
a huge year.
Yeah.
A player who got a lot of bad press in the offseason just because of the expectations being so high. And I think some of that comes with having, the name Marvin Harrison.
Of course.
That attached to your name already. Everyone's like, oh, why didn't you lead the league in receptions? Why didn't you set a record? Come on.
Yeah.
But he was a rookie. It's a big league to adjust to. It's a whole different level of speed. And I saw things in week 1. Now it was against a terrible team. Like Bryson said, Saints are bad.
Yeah.
But
Oh, God.
just improvement is the name of the game when you're young, especially at the receiver position. And I saw a lot of it.
Yeah.
And Trey Benson looks incredibly impressive as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, with the 49ers, even with the George Kittle and Brock Purdy injuries, they're still going to contend for a wild card spot.
No.
No.
I think they're dead.
Yeah.
Wait. What's about Purdy injury? I haven't heard. I didn't hear about that.
It's a toe and a shoulder injury, which, by the way, makes that win over Seattle just gigantic for that team. Because if they lose that, again, they have the Saints this week, and Mac Jones is starting, and they might even be able to beat the Saints even with Mac Jones. So who knows what's able to
It's Shanahan, so I mean, anyone.
Shanahan can work with just
That's kind of what I was banking on when I was making that up.
Yeah. I mean, it's doable just because it's San Francisco. It seems like they always find a way, but. Outside of it just being Shanahan can maybe do it just because of how good of a coach he is and like what he can do with uplifting quarterbacks. Maybe, but the NFC's tough, man. And that division's going to be tough. That's a
The
tough
NFC West is actually low-key going to be really competitive.
The Rams, I think, though, are head and shoulders above the other 3 teams.
I think
all four teams have a case.
Yeah.
Some sort of case, but I think in the top 3 of the teams have a legit. The 3 teams, the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers all have legit cases.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but if that's the, not to cut you off, but if that is the case, and there's not that much of a margin between those 4, then you have to give the other 3 the advantage because the best ability is availability, and those guys consistently are going to be there.
Right.
You can't say that about San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco doesn't have McCaffrey. They don't have Purdy. They don't have Kittle.
So that's the issue.
Yeah.
That's the issue at hand with the 49ers this season because the division is stacked. Yeah. So they are at a disadvantage there as well for getting the wild card spot from Rams and even Seahawks right now.
Yeah.
Right now they're probably 3rd right now.
Yeah.
In my mind right now they're probably 3rd.
Yeah.
Them and Seattle are very equal. I see them kind of as the same. And then Arizona maybe is like just peeking ahead of them, but like I think LA is the best team in that division. I think LA will have that division wrapped
easily.
up.
Now, for the Seahawks, they have a very underrated special teams unit. Don't be entirely surprised when Cody White and Torrey Horton take one back to the house several times.
I mean, if we're highlighting your special teams, that says a lot more about the other aspects of the team than it does the outlook of their season.
It's true, but they had some pretty high averages on their returns.
Yeah.
They did, and here's this. I hate to, because Sam Darnold's a good dude, and Sam Darnold earned a nice contract in Seattle because of what he did in Minnesota last year. Is it fair to say Sam Darnold now officially is the 2nd most embarrassing quarterback fumble of all time? Like it's like the butt fumble adjacent fumbles off the offensive linemen. It was rough stuff. Like I was thinking, did Bosa strip sack him? Nope.
He just. Yeah,
I think the butt fumble still reigns supreme, and it's not even close.
The butt fumble is its own. and then everyone is trying to be the butt fumble. But this
I mean,
is we got a
I mean,
strong contender here.
I mean, it's Mark Sanchez and the Jets combined, so I think
Yeah,
On a nationally televised Thanksgiving game, it couldn't have been
Against
worse.
the Patriots.
It was rough.
yeah.
No,
Against
yeah.
the-
Now, for the Rams, I have two things. Matt Stafford's back issue doesn't seem to be bothering him too much, and Jared Verse will lead the league in sacks.
Jared Verse is my pick for Defensive Player of the Year. I said that coming into the year. I think the dude is going to have a monster season. When you hear the reports that came out of Rams camp, the guy, and by the way, we talk about kind of, you were sort of with Nolan Smith to a lesser degree earlier. When you have the depth that the Los Angeles Rams have on their defensive line, you have Byron Young, you have some of these other guys. That's gonna, man. If Aaron Donald was still on this defense, he might have 25 sacks. I mean, because you couldn't triple team him.
Yeah.
I think Jared Verse is gonna have a massive year. And to your Stafford question, that was. With his age, with his injury history, that was a concern. He looked fine against a really good Houston defense. He was on time, on target. Long as he's healthy, that's a real threat in the NFC. No question about it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for indulging me on your takes, guys, but I think that will be all from the Second Level podcast. Thank you, Bryson, for jumping on here with us. You want to plug your stuff here one more time?
Absolutely, guys. First of all, I appreciate you having me on the show. It was a blast. I'm obviously down to do it again sometime in the future. But yeah, Carving It Up Live, we air every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook. Talk about everything in the world of sports. Like tomorrow, it's Wednesday. Honestly, it might be my favorite show of the week because I have Bryson's Best 10, which is my top 10 teams in the NFL. Carving Up the Context. We'll be predicting Packers, Commanders, which is a great game coming up. Vikings, Bears reaction, all kinds of stuff going on. The show's heating up with the NFL season back. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, please subscribe. Follow me on social media platforms, Carving It Up Podcast, everywhere you can find the show. Really appreciate y'all having me on, and hopefully we can do it again.
Absolutely. So make sure you go check out the Carving It Up podcast. Make sure you click subscribe and like on our videos as well, because we're going to be doing this just about every week. So please come back and see us as well. But we've been Steve, Nate, Carter, Asher, and Bryson, and this has been the Second Level Podcast. Peace.
Where it stays.